Salubria was constructed in 1757 for the Reverend John Thompson and his wife, who was the widow of Alexander Spotswood. Her name was Butler Brain. And so the two of them had this house constructed. Unfortunately, Butler passes away about a year after it's constructed, and Reverend Thompson remarries. It goes through lots of different hands, and in 2000, Historic Germana ended up as the stewards of this property. This house is it's a rare gem, and I say that because here we are in the Piedmont region, and we're standing before a Georgian-style house. Now, if you were in Tidewater, this style of house would be very popular. But out here in this region, I actually would be hard-pressed to think of another house that meets this style at this time.
And how well it has held up.
Right, absolutely. And you say how well it is held up. Now, another thing that's extraordinarily unique about this house is that it's relatively unchanged since the 18th century. There's never been any sort of HVAC that's been installed. There's never been any sort of water that's been installed. And until 2011, we didn't even have any electricity in this house. And so it retains its original paneling. Many of the rooms have their original flooring, and it's preserved in a raw state, which is extraordinarily unique.
I would think historians and just archaeology people, anybody would be thrilled to be able to go through something like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the additional cool things about this house is that because it is so untouched, you get to see the many layers of when it was once lived in. So you're exactly right. Historic preservationists, archaeologists, really anybody who has a fascination with history comes to here, and you feel closer because it is the real layers of history.
It's just you look at it. It's just at a time we don't see things like this. It usually is a reproduction of something, or rebuilt, and this is the real thing. It's just like walking back. It's like a time machine.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot, that it is like a time machine, and people tend to feel closer to the history that this house holds because there isn't anything that is a fake or a reproduction. Yeah, it's the real
this
thing.
Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. we're actually going to have the house and property open to the public. We've invited some of our partner historical organizations to come out and support. We'll have the American Battlefield Trust, Museum of Culpeper History, Visit Culpeper, and hopefully some more. But it's really just an opportunity for the community to come out, explore the house, because it's not typically open to the public. We'll have interpreters here who would be happy to show you around, answer any questions, give you a tour of the house or grounds. And it's really just an opportunity to enjoy the nice warm weather while immersing yourself in this history.
And boy, there's so much history to be immersed in. You walk around this house, and it's not like walking around a historic house because it's also untouched.
Yeah, for sure. We're actually standing in probably the most original room in the house. The floors we're standing on are original 1757 floorboards, as well as the paneling here is all original to the house as well. This is definitely the most striking room in the house, I would say, because of the most elaborate hand-carved paneling. Most likely used as some sort of parlor, welcoming room for guests to the house.
These are the kinds that you don't see houses and rooms like this. You just don't see it, and it's a rare treat on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to walk around, look at all these unique features close up, hear the stories about the people who lived here, and how a lot of these unique features came to be, and how all of that comes together.
There's that tree up there that just looks really old.
Yeah, that's a southern catalpa tree. I would estimate that's definitely early 19th century based on other similar catalpa trees I've seen. But you can see it's still going. It has plenty of leaves on it. A very cool vestige and tie to the past.
And this is all part of, Historic Germana is worth checking out. There's this and just a whole lot of other things available through Historic Germana.
Yeah, this is just one of our many resources that we preserve and protect and tell the stories of. Of course, Salubria. We also have our 180 acres of conservation easement protected land in Orange County. We have a brand new boat launch open to the public. We have an active archaeology site. So there's just so much to really delve into the history of this region at Germana. Of course, Salubria as an 18th century plantation was sustained by an enslaved workforce. And I thought because they were people who also lived here and allowed this lavish house to exist, we thought we should talk about them as well because they're part of Salubria as well. This is a very preliminary start to what we hope to interpret about the enslaved community here. But we basically took some primary sources that we have. So we have the will of John Thompson, which actually lists the names of enslaved workers here, newspaper articles about enslaved people that run away, and then expenses written down during the Civil War that also shed light onto the stories of the enslaved. So it's really looking in between the lines, and I hope that this little exhibit here kind of puts people in the shoes of a historian to look at these sources, learn about what do we know about the enslaved community, what don't we know, and how do we expand the story.
And you've been able to find out stuff. That's what's interesting to me, doing some research.
Yeah, it's been super cool. We've definitely had people doing research on this house in the past. But there's just so much that we still have to uncover and we don't know, and finding stuff out, as I prepare for a presentation, I found out some new things, and it's just super cool because every time I walk into this house, there's something I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that last time. That makes a lot of sense. So I think this house is just so unique for people who are interested in history, but also are interested in the historical process as well.
Well, there's this picture here that we've all seen, and that picture we've all seen, and all of a sudden realize that perhaps some of those people either knew of this place or maybe lived here.
Yeah, largely I have that picture there because this house obviously is here during the Civil War. There's an enslaved workforce that's actually relocated from this house when the Union Army arrives. The Union Army arrives, prompting this exodus of enslaved people. And so the enslaver of the house, Robert Grayson, saw this as a threat to his property. And so he actually moves 18 enslaved people from here all the way down to Amherst County to keep them away from the Union Army. And that's a research rabbit hole that I've been particularly interested in because it's so fascinating. It's a story we don't really talk about during the Civil War. But that picture really encapsulates the movement of people and the relationship between enslaver and enslaved and the Union Army that kind of come home to roost here at Salubria.
Again, this Saturday, it's a really chance to see Salubria up close like you never can.
Yeah, absolutely. Come out 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Just pop by at any time. We'll have actually a bread vendor. The Twisted Loaf Bakery will be here, and that'll be a great opportunity to snack while also immersing yourself in this history.